Every morning, Pittsburgh wakes up with Larry Richert and John Shumway. KDKA.
7:38. This is the voice of Pittsburgh, KDKA. I'm Larry Richert.
And I'm John Shumway, and we are still in the glow of that Steeler win last night. Sean Sweezum splitting the uprights with no time remaining.
Well, it certainly takes the edge off, that's for sure, in this town.
It makes for a nice Monday morning where you get up and everybody's going to be talking about the game.
And you'll also be hearing about the fiscal cliff ad nauseum and the inability of our lawmakers in Washington to make a deal on this. So far, we'll see.
They're going to make a deal right at the last minute. Nobody's going to understand what they agreed to.
That's probably what the reality of it is. Joining us on the 84 Lumber Project Professionals Newsline is the principal at the McQuillan Group. That would be El Presidente, Kevin McQuillan. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well. Can you boil this down for the average person sitting in their car in traffic this morning? What is it going to mean to them if we go over the fiscal cliff?
Well, for most anybody collecting a paycheck right now, the most pressing change will be that 2% increase in Social Security tax. That's the most immediate and pretty much across the board. They're going to see, if they make about $50,000 a year, they're going to see their taxes going up about $1,000. On top of that, there's a wide variety of things that are potentially affecting a wide variety of people, like the capital gains. If part of your earnings are capital gains, you're likely to see a significant increase there. If your income's over, as they talk about 200,000 or 250, you're likely to see a significant increase in your tax rate along the lines of 5 to 6%. And the one that's probably been most overlooked is in the short term. With all the political acrimony, as you alluded to, Larry, 2012, we still haven't patched what they call the AMT. So there's a fair number of people with income, say a family income over $150,000, are going to see a fairly significant increase in their tax with absolutely nothing changing from last year to this year. A lot's being talked about next year, but you could have a pretty decent-sized tax bite. The averages I'm reading about are around $5,000. I know we're running a lot of tax projections right now, and I'm seeing numbers slightly higher for people, more like $6,000 to $7,000, with nothing else changing other than not passing new legislation to correct this patch, which has been going on for years.
A game changer for a lot of people when you're doing your own personal budgets, let alone companies that are trying to figure out how to position themselves for next year. What can you do now? And we only have a few weeks left in this year. Is there anything you can kind of do to set yourself up as we go into the new year?
Well, probably the most important thing is know where you're at today. If you don't have an idea, it's worth maybe crunching some numbers to see how much you currently owe. A few of the things that are still available are things like charities, donations of goods, things like that could have more of a current impact. As far as what's going to change into next year, if you're, for the first time in a long time, I'm suggesting to clients that if you have significant capital gains, you may want to bring that income into this year, knowing what the tax rates are, knowing that they're relatively low, knowing that they're more than likely going up next year. You may want to accelerate and realize that income now.
Kevin, do you realize that to most people this is just so overwhelming that they don't have any clue what to do or say or think about it?
It is. When you look at the inability for our political leaders to even figure out a reasonable solution, because there isn't a reasonable solution. Every solution probably involves raising taxes or cutting back on spending, and at a proportion that will have a significant impact no matter what is decided. So there is no easy solution. It's convoluted by a lot of talk about what should be done and what shouldn't be done. The reality is the government needs to raise money, and they either raise money by collecting more taxes or paying out less, and that's the fundamental challenge. It's just so overwhelming to get your hands around.
Yeah, and this includes both. If we go over this so-called fiscal cliff, it is dramatic cuts and these huge increases in taxes for everybody. So we're talking about the additional taxes people might pay, but there are a lot of people who will flat out lose their jobs.
The numbers, and these are, I'm a CPA, not an economist, but the numbers we're reading about is, along the lines of it could easily reduce our GDP into a negative, or and in the range of 2 to 4%, which would reduce employment because businesses aren't going to spend money. They're going to continue to hoard cash. They're not going to, there's already anecdotally a lot of people not doing things or planning to do things in 2013 just because they're unsure, and uncertainty makes most people, especially businesses in corporate America, sort of sit on the sidelines and see what's happening before they commit.
Do nothing, and we go over the fiscal cliff. I mean, what is the one thing that people should do today? It's a deep question, isn't it?
The one thing. Oh gosh, that's a really challenging question. It really depends on your facts. I just think knowing that, as Larry alluded to, you're going to pay out more in taxes. As things currently stand, you're going to have less disposable income next year, and you need to plan for that now. Where can you make up for that $5,000 to $10,000 in less cash you're going to have available throughout the course of the year? And that's a pretty significant impact to most family budgets.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, sit down and get a good view of where you are is the good advice for starters. Kevin McQuillan, the principal at the McQuillan Group, we appreciate your time this morning, and nice to see you're agonizing over it just like the rest of us.
Agonizing is a lot and having a lot of these conversations. So, there's no simple answer here, and it's really created a lot of challenges in planning for the future, and it's a lot of uncertainty. So we do need we certainly need some closure or some idea of where we're heading, or we're going to be heading into a malaise that's going to, I think, impact a lot of people.
Other than that, have a wonderful Monday morning.
It's job security for Kevin, though.
Jeez, thanks.
Hey, and the Steelers won.
Yeah, that was good. Tell that to your clients today.
Exactly.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, see you guys.
On the 84 Lumber Project Professionals Newsline again, Kevin McQuillan at the McQuillan Group on KDKA.